Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gorgeous Growth Podcast, where we discuss strategies to take your brand to the top. I'm your host, Oscar Guerrero, and today I'm joined by Wendy Herman. Wendy is the founder of BraBar. She has over 20 years experience in intimate apparel and has worked with iconic brands such as Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and Lucky Brand. Wendy, I'm so excited to have you here. So why don't you start off and give us a little bit of background on your story and BraBar?
Sure. And I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. So I spent my career in intimate apparel, and I would consider it a core competency of mine. But I'm also a mother with 3 children, one of which is a daughter. And when my daughter was 15 and we started to bra shop from a different perspective, I saw the market and the choices that were available from a very different lens than I had when I was working in the category and in the space with these brands. And what I realized was that the product that I was looking for wasn't available, the sizes that we needed weren't available, and there was a lack of service available. There was a tremendous opportunity to reach people online, but online is a little bit harder to offer the service element, and we're trying to marry both. So we wanted to be able to get an online presence so customers could acquire our products, but at the same time, how do we service them? And so the initial launch was actually just a product. My daughter was wearing a bra underneath her bralette because she loved the bralette and the look of it, but it didn't actually function for her. And so she was wearing an underwire bra underneath it. So our first products were actually a combination of like a sports bra and a bralette had a baby, targeted for the tween and teen market. And from then we evolved into more products.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because when I came across BraBar, we usually talk to founders and venture capitalists that are working specifically in beauty and wellness, right? And when I came across BraBar, I was like, a lot of people would consider this just apparel or intimate apparel. But to me, it just fit wellness so well because, when we think about wellness, we think about mental health, how we feel, it's not only about survival, but also thriving. And if we look at history and if we look at what the world has been given, especially women, they've been given something to get by, right? And you have mentioned, functional. Is the item functional? Do we thrive with it? So would you say that your products also are about wellness?
Absolutely, because what we're saying is comfort is the foundation of confidence, and that women and young women should be empowered with the tools and information and products to live their very best lives. And in order to do that, if you're wearing an uncomfortable bra or uncomfortable underwear, you really kind of spend your day feeling uncomfortable. And then when you take underwire bras and you actually think of it from the component of the wire, it can be even that exponentially more uncomfortable and harder to fit, harder to find your appropriate size. So all these things are really important to feeling like your best self.
Awesome. Yeah.
Another thing, honestly, going to wellness that I just want to say is we feel strongly in our messaging about you are so much more than your body, because your body's really only one aspect of the individual that you are. Wellness is really about understanding who you are as an individual in its entirety. And the intimate apparel category has become very, very, very focused on your body positivity, body neutrality, but that puts a tremendous amount of emphasis on the body as opposed to the whole individual, when your body's just this one little aspect. We say your strengths, your dreams, your aspirations, your failures, all of that's who you are, and not just your body, your mind, your soul. So I wholeheartedly believe that intimate apparel falls in the wellness category straight in the heart.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about the business side of things and how you got started. Did you bootstrap this?
Yeah. So initially we bootstrapped. I started in my dining room. Our first products were, we sewed them samples. My daughter tried them on. Her friends tried them on. We did a ton of wear testing. And really the initial products were launched out of my dining room, and we had a container in the driveway. And, from there, and we had we tested with one wholesale customer who had distribution. So we had the ability to distribute for ourselves and distribute a little bit somewhere else to try to see what the customer reactions were to the product. And it was really through our community that we were able to figure out like what next, what else they wanted, and where to go from there. We then raised a little bit of money during 2019 and 2020, and we opened up our first BraBar store, which was really like a pop-up store to bring customers into the experience of shopping BraBar and to share information. And that was when we raised a little bit of money, and now we're about to go raise again.
Okay, great. Let's talk a little bit about that, because there's so many brand owners that I speak to who are who have bootstrapped it. They've done great, and I think that the key to doing well when you're bootstrapping it is not only knowing your unit economics, but also being able to find out what the community wants, the community that you serve, right? And then once you find that, it's almost like you found this key, and then you're embedding yourself in the community, and you can do well, but you can only do so much because scaling just becomes so much harder without money, right?
Absolutely, especially inventory's cash, right? So if you're always trying to fund marketing expenses and growth and manage your inventory when it's coming in, what your newness, and also product evolution, product life cycle. There are so many components and variables that you're managing and weighing as a founder that it's challenging in every level, from when I was in my dining room to where we are right now to where we dream to be.
How did you, I guess my question is, or the question that I think people out there who haven't been able to raise capital yet is, how do you start? Like, where do you look for capital?
I think that there are many, many, many different ways that you can go. There's, angels, there's friends and family. There are ways that you can, raise through things like Republic or Seed Invest. You can also go the venture route. There's, sometimes you can find an appropriate strategic partner who may be aligned with you, where their skill set offsets yours. But I think overall, it's really about making sure that you're allocating the appropriate amount of funding at each individual milestone. And I think where some of the happens is cart and horse. Where's the money? Where's the initiative? And putting them in line to be able to go and raise the appropriate amount of money at the right time. Because I think what investors are looking for is they want to make sure that you're putting that capital to work and that you can actually deliver a return on the investment. And they're looking for growth without burning through a lot of capital. It's the same thing a bootstrap founder is looking for. They're like, oh my God, I only have so much money. What do I do? Where do I put it? Investors are just doing that at scale. And I think one of the misnomers that I think that I've seen is that not every company is a venture backable company, and that people need to look at what their long-term goal is for their initiative and whether or not they really think that they should be spending their time trying to raise from that particular category, because there are other ways too. There are convertible notes, there's debt, there are many ways to finance growth.
I see what you're saying. Now, you mentioned that you were raising around 2019. And then, I mean, that must have been a very interesting time, because what happened in 2020, right? So what did that look like?
It actually worked out very well for us, except we initially raised with the idea that we were opening up our BraBar studio, and we opened in July 2019, and then March 13, 2020, we closed for COVID. But yet we still needed to be able to go out and raise, and now we needed to show where we were going to be expanding our growth. So in that case, we used marketplace, wholesale, and our D2C in order to try to get the customer, to align. And that's where we put our money behind. So storytelling on social, getting people engaged in what it is that we're talking about, which is really education, information, community, and those were kind of the stages along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I see that on social. You guys, I think, are doing great. I mean, Instagram, you have over 37,000 followers, and then I noticed that in Pinterest, you've got over 10,000. So those channels are definitely growing. Do you feel like those channels are kind of like I guess like a support, that you're getting from your online store?
Absolutely. I would say it's a lot of, when I think about it from a marketing perspective, I think it's probably like a lot of top of funnel. People are interested in the business. They're interested in what we have to say. They're learning and they're engaging with us. And I think that in some cases, honestly, we're not necessarily expecting that someone's going to come and buy the product from us. We're generally out there to put information out. We also have products that no one else has. So once people are informed with the information they need, they realize why they need and want us. And when we say part of what makes us unique, it's in the fit. Bras should fit, and it's in the fit. It's in the fit, it's in the function, and it's in the experience.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you may not expect people to buy from you, but right now you sell direct to consumer and at your store. Is there also...
We sell direct to consumer, our store, and wholesale.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you do wholesale, distribute to other places, other stores?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And we did this early on for credibility, because we wanted our brand to perform on a level playing field with other more established brands and be able to show our point of differentiation and our uniqueness and why we have a reason to be and why people need BraBar. Like, I've worked for massive brands and yet they still didn't have what I needed. I needed, for example, a 28 double D. That size is not really readily available at all, but it should be, because if you put a tape measure on, a number of people, you'd find that many more people fit into the sizes than are actually available at the store level, which is how all the D2C brands came to be, offering their unique propositions and marketing directly to the customer. But 70% of bras are sold in stores.
Right. So the nature of purchasing the product that you sell, I totally could see why you have a store, right? Like, you want people to come in. It's a whole experience.
It's an experience. It's about the experience. Yeah.
Now, but during COVID, did your direct to consumer side of the business see everything like go up?
Oh yeah, we definitely saw a lift in our direct to consumer, and we interacted with our customers virtually. So we set up virtual fittings and things that offered services along the way for people who needed it. And then we, just also did, some digital marketing and social to share. But we actually didn't reopen up our store until October 2020. And at that point, we were open very limited hours, like 12 to 15 hours a week. Because if you can't be within 6 feet of someone and you're wearing a mask and a shield, how are you doing a bra fitting?
Good point. Yeah. So what's as of last year, there's been a huge movement now for taking a multi-channel approach, right?
Yes. Which I wholeheartedly believe in, by the way. So I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, not only that, but just like the nature of the product fits so well with that paradigm.
Yeah.
So then, like, right now, what do you feel the mix is as far as percentage wise? Like, do you guys do like 70% in store, or 50% in store, 50% online?
I would say give or take. It truly does vary, but I would say give or take, it's about 30. And it really depends on when and what we're shipping into wholesale in a particular season. We drive, our store drives revenue based on how much traffic is in the store and what initiatives we're running. And then online is driven by, marketing and customer acquisition. So the more money we spend on the channel, we can generate more on the channel. But one of the things that, again, when you're a founder and you're trying to extend your runway, figure out how to raise smart money, when you're bootstrapping and you're spending your marketing money and trying to figure out what to spend, it's like you need the appropriate return on ad spend, the appropriate return on investment for how you're spending in all those channels. My personal observation is that the D2C channel was a leaky boat, whereas from a profit perspective, we delivered much better revenue and consistency through wholesale and through our brick and mortar store, which also then brought new customers and brought customer acquisition and awareness and credibility. Then the customer acquisition strategy alone during COVID, when it was a lot of feed the beast, feed the beast, feed the beast, but people with more money have more money. And eventually they're buying your name, they're buying the words, and they can spend more.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. And I think that
now they can copy your face. They can copy your ads too. They go in, they look at what your ads are, and then they run the same ad.
Yeah. That's, it's not easy. I think that, there's this, and I think it's important for anyone out there who's starting their brand. Like, they believe, unfortunately, there's some people out there who still believe that just doing it online is easy. They cut out the middleman. It's more profitable. But they don't realize all the other costs and
expenses that go into it. Yeah.
And the customer acquisition cost is not becoming more efficient. It's, online, at least it's becoming more expensive. So what we've seen is really just such a big focus on retention.
Yes.
And, all of a sudden, what used to be like, hey, let's run ads, let's get as many people into the store and let's just sell as much as we can, has turned into how can we make this profitable? Like, how we need to start to look at LTV. What's the lifetime value of this client? All right. Because if we spent $50 to acquire them and they just spent $60, we
lost money.
Yeah, we lost money. We need a way to make this work. And so, what we have seen, again, just over the past year, but this is by any means, it's not really that popular still, is just, is this focus on what does the customer journey look like? What does the customer experience look like? How does, and there's so many different touch points in that I believe that include even the packaging. Like, it's everything.
The customer experience. I also think rewards, loyalty, when you have the ability to give them, via email or text, when you're sharing information that's more personalized, those channels, I think, deliver really well. They deliver profitably, and you are investing in the lifetime value of your customer and your community. And I think that that's the difference. It's really nurturing the customers who are already there. Underwear, like cosmetics, it's a replenishment category too. You find a product, you like a product, it performs well for you, you're going to buy it again the next time when you go to reuse it, or when you're going to do the next one, or when you use it out.
That's right. Absolutely. And then having it, I think that, having the multi-channel approach is obviously it's the best thing that you can do, because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's what so many people have been doing for years now, for like 10 years. It's been, let's just, run Facebook ads and go online, and that's it. So,
which before the iOS update may have been okay, but after the iOS update, it was.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. And then, like, by having these wholesale channels, I believe that you're creating a moat for yourself as well.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
Yes, from the perspective of either securing real estate or securing online presence, and then your wholesale partners market on your behalf. Because when a customer goes onto one of my wholesale partners' websites, and clicks my product, a BraBar product, they'll get fed an ad from that retailer with my products and other products that are appropriate.
That's right.
And so I think that that continues to reinforce the message to the customer that there is credibility here, and we're just looking at this choice versus this choice versus this choice, and which one's right for me. And I hope they choose BraBar. But in this case, I say thank you for marketing my brand.
Yeah, that's the way it should work. That's what it's meant to do. I think that's a perfect plan. So then the question that I'm sure is on people's minds right now are, how do you actually get distribution? Like, how do you find a wholesaler?
So here's what I would say about this also. It's one step at a time. Like, I'm making this sound bigger than it is. We're still at the very beginning of our journey from my perspective. Like, so even securing a retailer, like, I don't think you secure more than one. I don't think you bat too far above your weight class, because any one retailer who is so much bigger than you can put you out of business in a minute. I think it's really about being smart and strategic about who your partners are along the way, and not getting ahead of yourself, but at the same time, always planning for future growth. So that you're really, because again, the same thing, right? All your eggs in one basket. You bring on a big retailer, that could offset your entire D2C, because
And your production, and then how do you keep up
everything, the inventory, where do you put the stock when they both need it? You know, and you only have X amount of inventory. So there's so many variables. Or what if the product gets there and it doesn't perform? What I would say about going out and finding retailers is that there are opportunities to do trade shows in your area. There are often independent reps who focus in a particular area and have a core competency. That sometimes specialty stores and specialty chains can be very, very, very fruitful and profitable partnerships. So there are many ways to go where you don't necessarily have to be going to a major retailer, let's say like a Nordstrom or a Macy's or a Target, in order to feel like you have gotten there, because a lot of businesses are started just by grassroots. Like, we started locally. Our following was local, then national. We wanted to build a presence locally so that people understood what BraBar was, so that we could then take that information and scale. And to be honest, the other thing we do is we use our studio as a lab. So nothing goes online before it's been in our studio first, tested on a bunch of people, then we produce more of it. Because otherwise, the reverse would be true. If the product doesn't perform, then we're in trouble. So we know which way to go. But what I would say, it's honestly baby steps. Everything is baby steps. And myself, I've had to stop looking at what everybody else is accomplishing and saying, oh, why am I not doing that? And realize, for my own business, I need to make the choices that are best for me at this stage based on where I am. And I think that's where those milestones and raising funding and all of that comes into play.
So if you had just one piece of advice to give a budding entrepreneur that has a wonderful product and has found a community and a solution, they've built their website and they're bringing in sales and social is working for them, what would the one piece of advice be for someone like that in order to be able to get to where you are today?
I would say continue to reiterate on what's working. Remember why you're doing it, what you're doing, and your unique proposition, so that you're still having fun every day, and take the next best great step every single day. And at night, remind yourself that you're proud of that step that you took, so that you're working towards the greater goal. Because you don't wake up one day and secure the best wholesale partner. You have to do research to figure out if that's even your channel and who they might be and how to get to them. And so along the way, that feels challenging. But the little steps, they help because they feel like success.
That's great advice. That's really good advice. Well, listen, I just, I want to not only thank you for coming on the show, but I also want to congratulate you for what you've done. I think that you're building something very special. I'm sure that you guys will continue to grow. And what do you see for the future of your brand?
I would like to create a category leader in the junior intimate space over the next 10 years so that there will be a place to go and you will go to BraBar all over the country and have a BraBar experience. You can shop BraBar virtually and have a virtual experience on the web or with a virtual person who can help you. And you can also shop online and through distribution partners. But when you go to BraBar, you're not only getting BraBar products, you actually can get other products from other brands that help support what it is you're looking for.
That's great. So what would be the best way to stay up to date with BraBar?
You can follow us at BraBar.us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Pinterest. We'll keep sharing our stories, and we're also on LinkedIn.
Awesome, Wendy. Thank you so much. It was great meeting with you. I wish you guys all the best, and hope to keep in touch too.
Definitely. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
You too.